Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to your January 2025 reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everybody. I hope you're doing well. I know many of you like to know what Apollo's up to. He's just resting behind us, so why don't we get started? For those of you that are brand new here, here's our format. We're going to begin with channeled messages. We'll get into the Celtic Cross. Then we'll go a little bit deeper into health, wealth, love, and destiny. And at the end, if there's something that you're trying to figure out, stick around because I pull a final card to answer that question. Let's get started with the channeled messages first and foremost. So today, as I meditated on your sign, I felt an activation around the throat chakra. And actually what came through my mind's eye was a picture of like a wolf howling at the moon. So a couple of things with these two messages. The first with just the throat chakra. Of course, this could be taken at face value where some of you might be dealing with a sore throat because we're in, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, the winter. So that often leads to, some issues there. But I like to take it in a more high level and figurative point of view, which I think for many of you is you're finding your voice, learning to speak up, to speak out, to ask questions. And maybe even some of you might be using your voice for a career purpose, whether it's singing or public speaking, or you're being put in a position where there's just a little bit more expected of you, particularly when it comes to speaking in front of a group. I only got good things when it felt like a really nice opening here. And, practice makes perfect. You're never great at the very beginning. If I look at old videos, I've seen how far even I've come on, YouTube, but the more you do it, the better you'll get. And that's the main takeaway there. Now, the wolf piece was kind of interesting because this could also be calling to someone or something. I think of the wolf calling to the pack. So some of you might be trying to connect with a larger group of people. So the communication for business or maybe even for change in the world, you're trying to find and ignite sort of the energy in a group of people that are like-minded. And this also puts you in a power position too. You're leading the charge. And what I get here is don't be dismayed if things don't happen immediately. Someone has to set that call out there. And we'll take a look at the cards and see when, if, and how the answer might come through. Take a moment, if you will, to clear your mind as we meditate here. Imagine that the moon is shining down on you, creating a perfect circle of silver light around your body. And let's set an intention that only the highest guidance can cross that line. Now let's call in angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, and of course, welcome in your own highest consciousness as well. Let's begin. By the way, it's very interesting that the voice activation came through for health, so no accidents. That's a synchronicity. All right, let's get started. We're going to begin with your catalyst. So the truth card came through. I also think this is connected to the voice because sometimes it's really difficult to get what you need to say out of your mouth, right? It's here, but we have to activate this throat chakra. It's interesting that the turtle is also on this card because I've seen in my own life and even in others that time usually reveals the truth, but why not get ahead of it and just live in your truth? Because when you live in your truth, you're in the star energy, and when the star energy is present, like the sky is the limit, okay? So we see a slow truth that is unfolding. For some of you, you might also be connecting with your inner calling, your truth. So honor it, live it, and show it to the world. That's kind of what I get here, because we also see the world right above it. Let's take a look at the spread and see what else needs to show up here. So King of Swords, interestingly enough, associated with communication and is at the top of that suit. So this is the time to speak up for sure. Many of you might actually be speaking up about your financial matters. I can see that with the Nine of Pentacles. I overall like this spread. There's not that many troublesome or problematic cards here. Most of them are pretty good. A little bit of emotional distress that some of you might be going through, but we do see a silver lining on that, and I'll talk about it in a moment. Let's get started with the King of Swords. So speaking up, speaking out, speaking often. Sometimes we wait way too long before we correct something. And you know, in life, if there's something that's not working, it's kind of like a car or something in the home. If you address it when there's just a little tiny squeak or something isn't quite right, you can usually avoid it going to other systems and causing a bigger issue. So your proactive communication is so vital right now. Also, your voice is important. Your point of view, your take on things could actually really help others as well. There's wisdom and there's slyness as well with the fox. So timing is everything. Make sure that you read the room and that you see if people are ready and willing to listen. But no matter what, I feel like communication is a really strong point, and focusing on activating that throat chakra keeps coming through time and again. Before we move on to the next card, if you happen to be a creative person, whether it's making things with your hands, or if you're an actor or a painter or writer, this is your card as well, because it shows that this is the month to bring something to the finish line. Crossing that center card, we have the Nine of Pentacles, and this card represents slow, steady, fruitful growth, and it is an encouragement not to rush to the finish line or worry so much about what others think, because there's also a beautiful independence that's always a part of this card. And I also love that there's this archway here, because I feel like the best is yet to come. And it's almost combining the Nine of Pentacles with the Ace of Pentacles, because you see this in the Ace. And you're one step away from something, but I feel like right after that, something else is going to be right in front of that. So we see abundance, we see opportunity, we see a doorway opening up for you. Even if you're in a place where you feel like, I don't have what I need, Nicholas, this isn't there yet. That's okay. This card is indicating that it's there within reach. And you may have to go through this current experience first. Finish what you've started can also be the message with the Nine of Pentacles, because you're one step away from that completion. Now, the one thing that I like to sometimes remind people, because there is an independence here, yes, you can do it on your own, but you may get there a little faster by reaching out and asking for some advice, for some support, for some insight. So don't be afraid to do that. Generally speaking, since we're looking at this as an indication of not just the month ahead, but kind of what this year is bringing forth for you, it looks like it's increased resources, which is time, energy, and money. And that's a nice way to start things off. You can also speak it into existence. The King of Swords can connect to the Nine of Pentacles. So if you need it or want it or feel that you deserve it, this is a way to kind of like bring it into fruition. Let's look at the karmic lesson, the deep past here. We have the Knight of Wands in the reverse state. So when knights reverse, they basically need to slow down. Sometimes they need to backtrack a little bit. And Wands has to do with thought process and innovation and ideas. So you're rethinking something. There could have been a path that was working before, but he's looking at the lamppost here and saying, have I missed something? Have I missed something on the signs? Did I maybe take a couple missteps? So retrace your steps, rethink what it is that you're trying to do. And as you're contemplating and kind of figuring out your own truth, then a new path may present itself. So these are all related. You have to slow down a little bit. Slowing down, if I can grab this card, will reveal the truth. So the turtle is saying, take a step or two, don't rush. There might be something that you still need to look at, okay? Now let's take a look at the recent past. We have the Hierophant, and Hierophant carries with it many connotations. One of them is teaching and learning, and we can see that here. Also creating structures in your life. So this can be putting pen to paper and saying, I have an idea. It could be a business plan. It could be an idea for wanting to learn something new, an education plan. You could also be actually trying to apply for a loan or something of that nature too, especially the way this is illustrated. And it's annoying because the Hierophant is a process and a hierarchy. And when you have to apply for a loan, for a job, for or applying to a school, there's a bunch of arbitrary gatekeepers that get to decide if they agree with you. Know this, even if they don't agree with you, you can still find what you're looking for out there. Rejection is protection. Delays sometimes can be your best friend because they force you, much like the Hanged Man, a reverse Knight of Wands is going to look around and say, well, while that's not working or while I'm waiting on this, what else can I do? So that helps us understand this Three of Swords. It may seem like nothing's happening, but look what's going on. It's a reverse Three of Swords, by the way. But a rose bush is starting to grow around that. It'll eventually cover it up and create some, it can actually use that kind of like a support, if you will. So we learn from our difficult experiences, our setbacks, even our sadness. It can create this sense of strength that wouldn't be there otherwise. Definitely it helps with empathy. And so slowly something is building or rebuilding from something that may have felt like a setback, okay? And it's like roses have thorns, and you may be going through that thorny patch right now. But so much of today's spread, as we're looking at January, is very positive. I said that there might be almost like an Ace of Pentacles, but we did get an Ace of Wands here. There is a way to create something new from this situation, and we have the Ace of Wands coming through in the near future. Also, I love that we see all of this outgrowth and blossoms on the tree here. This Ace of Wands shows power because the snake is kind of wrapping around this particular branch. So for some of you, it's a reclamation or a realization of your power. Maybe even a skill that you didn't know was there is starting to come through. There's a natural talent or inclination or curiosity towards something. Absolutely pay attention to that. This could be where you decide to maybe get some training or learn something new from a mentor, from an expert. Now, the one thing that I want to say with the Ace of Wands is try not to overthink. It is important to allow for an idea to have some room to germinate, to take form. And sometimes we can overthink and worry about, like, when will this happen? Do I have enough time, energy, money, support, etc.? We go way too far down the rabbit hole, and it can inhibit the natural growth that already wants to come through in this card. The good news here is it seems like you are fairly level-headed, and we have a really great card showing up for you. Justice represents a multitude of things, but the first thing that's coming through is decision-making, because ultimately that's what a justice does. They decide what's right and what's wrong, and they take action. So do that for yourself. This feels right. I want to do it. I don't agree with that. No. Very decisive, very clear, very fair. This is a time where people may seek out your guidance, your counsel, because you are coming forth as a person who is able to hear or see it from both sides. Even if you're not, people need your advice. And that's why, interestingly enough, King and Queen of Swords are also connected with legal matters. So you may also be seeking contractual or legal advice in this period yourself. The good news is with the Upright Justice card, it looks like you can get a fair deal. And this can also be about this. If you think you're worth it and you're not getting what you need, speak up and put it into writing and use facts and your own sort of experience to help you win the case, if you will. But overall, this is saying, what do you want to do next? What's your decision? The universe is constantly waiting for us to let it know, like, I'm ready for this or I don't want this. As you start to speak it into existence this way, because the throat chakra can be in prayers, in your meditation, and you just saying to your guides in the universe, let's make this happen. So get very decisive. I talked a little bit to Aquarius about this. We were saying crystal clarity. For you, it's coming through in a much different way, and it's expressive. So it feels like you might already know it. It's about taking action and articulating that. From a sheer health perspective, this is also creating better balance in your life. So when we go into health, I'll think about that and see if there's any additional notes. But already it's just making sure that you're not putting too much energy here or not letting something go that really needs your attention. Let's look at the environment. I like it. We have the Page of Cups coming through. It can represent good news. Someone announcing something positive. There could be an engagement. There could be someone interested in you. There could just be this, like, the clouds are parting and the sun is shining through, and you just get this sense that it's going to be all right. And I like that, especially after the Three of Swords, because sometimes we wonder, when is it going to get easier? This also is about the power of your own ability to expect, anticipate, and call in something better. And you think to yourself, it's time, I'm ready, I want this. And then that starts to pull it, the call and answer, here it is. So you have to start to feel the worthiness, because it does feel like there's someone or something that sees your worth as well and is ready to come rushing in. Express yourself. Creative expression is coming through in a really great way. Someone might be shy in the environment. This page seems a little bit like he's blushing a little. So don't be afraid to reach out and say, this is what I want. The older you get, the less afraid you are to do that, because we don't have as much time to waste as we get older. So you can use that lesson at any point in your life, whether you're very young or you're, retired and you've learned your lessons. But sometimes we still need to hear that. There's nothing to be lost by giving it a shot, because if you don't, you're guaranteed almost that there's no action or no result. So why not at least try and express yourself and express your opinions? Queen of Swords coming through. So we've got 2 of the swords suit here, 2 of the top cards. The center one representing the heart to success, the key to success. Now we have maybe what for some of you is holding you back, because this can represent both fears and opportunities. So Queen of Swords in reverse is, if I speak up, they're going to think I'm too outspoken, I'm too loud, I'm complaining. Not necessarily. It's all in how you frame the words. It's all in when you say something. So as I said with the King, just make sure that the audience is ready, that the timing is right. And my advice always is to pare it down. You can always add to something, but you can't take words back once they've exited your mouth. So think it through, be concise, and let it go, all right? Also, there is power in a very simple yes or no. You don't need a lot of words. Now, taking it out of communication, you can see her looking at this book, taking that sword almost like a pen or pencil, and she might be revising. She may be saying, that's not what we talked about, going back to the Justice card. Making sure that you're getting a fair deal, making sure that people are accountable, that they're honest, that they're acting with integrity. And you do that by embodying that, leading by example, and saying, now it's your turn to do the same. So she's simply honest, and there's nothing wrong with being honest and assertive. So there you go. All right, as we take a look here at the final card here in the outcome here, the Seven of Cups is clarity, especially when reversed. And it's saying now is the time to speak, think, and act clearly. No room for sort of just cloudiness. And that is what is normally a part of this card. I'll pull the traditional one while we're talking, but sometimes we try not to hurt feelings, or we kind of beat around the bush, and this is saying that is actually going to cause more challenges and issues than simply saying, I'm not feeling this, or I have a concern, or I don't understand. So here's your traditional one. The person has almost too many things in front of them. You can tell we have a foggy day in Los Angeles today, so visibility is limited. If there's too much floating around, you sometimes just don't know what you're looking at. So we see in this card a little bit more clarity. So make sure that you're clearing the air, you're speaking up if something's not clear, you're asking a question, and you're not leaving a lot of room for people to wonder. So there's time, like with poetry, where you want things to be open to interpretation. But when it comes to instructions, they need to be clear. So be clear. That's basically what that's saying. And ask a question if you're feeling unclear. Now it's time to expand the forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning with the energy of health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. As I was pulling the cards, you probably heard me comment on this particular oracle card because it was such a synchronicity. So right there, it says voice activation, angelic attunement, and then divine support here. So it touches on a lot of things that we've been dealing with. The most important one is that activation, and you have 3 cards here. This one plus the King of Swords, the Justice. I would actually even say 4 cards because the Queen of Swords came through too. So speaking up is so important. And this can be in your own kind of connections with doctors, with people in your life, whatever it is that might be making a situation unclear, unhealthy, or uncomfortable. This is the time to articulate your questions, your needs, your desires so that that can get alleviated, all right? But particularly when we're looking at a healthcare professional, if they're obscuring the facts, kind of beating around the bush, you'll say, what does that mean? And how does this affect me? And what is the prognosis? And are there any alternatives? Sometimes we just accept the first thing. So this is a great month for second opinions. If the doctor pushes back, sometimes you have to look around and find the one that is going to work with you and listen to you. What I'm really drawn to now as we look at the cards here is the 3 of Swords. And there are a couple of components here that I want to highlight. The first is emotions. So sometimes we feel really triggered by what one person says or what one event can bring about. And I think this is a great time to seek counsel with somebody and just say, how did you work through this? Or do you have any advice? This can also represent, of course, issues with heart and blood. So your general heart health is coming to focus. Do things like exercise, sleep well, eat well, and make sure that you're taking care of this. Additionally, if there's any history of blood pressure, blood sugar, anything of that nature, you want to work with your healthcare professional and make sure that you're taking care of that. As I said, it's a time to ask questions and do some research if you need to. There may be some difficulty for some of you in concentrating. It could be not necessarily the worst thing. You might be attracted to someone or might be thinking about something that you can't wait to do, and that's making it difficult to finish the task at hand. So, I think focusing on what's coming next and why you're doing what you're doing, just kind of ground yourself, is really, really important. Other things that I'm seeing with this: stress management and overthinking. Knight of Wands, Ace of Wands reversed. It is just sort of like you might have too many things that you're focusing on. So delegation and saying, hey, I need you to help me with this because I have to just finish this first. Don't overextend yourself. But it looks like it's more like energetically, emotionally, and mentally, not so much a physical sort of thing. Oh, I mentioned when I was looking at health, we could look at the Justice card. There could be some balance issues for some of you too, and that's something you absolutely need to work with a doctor with. It could be inner ear, it could be blood sugar, blood pressure. It could also be, something that we wouldn't even think of normally. So talk to a doctor if that balance stuff is coming through. But it can, if we look at the Justice card, it's simply also saying create better environmental balance in your life. Not overextending, not overpromising. Otherwise, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. That's the most challenging card in the whole spread, I think, for you. So take care of yourself, take care of your body this month especially, and that's going to give you the foundation that you need for success. Let's focus on the next portion of this reading: resources, life purpose, and career, under the umbrella here of wealth. So in this portion, we have go with the flow. This reminds me of basically the 6 of Swords in tarot, which is moving on from one thing to another. Oftentimes it's difficult. It's difficult to let go of something and know when it's finished. So if you're working on a project or have been creating something, I'm getting here that it's very close to completion. And for many of you, it's just a matter of releasing that so that the next thing can come through. One thing that I say a lot on this channel is don't force the connection. Follow the energy. So if you are consistently getting blocked or rejected in one space, try opening this door or look in that direction. So make sure that you're accepting whatever form of rejection or block comes as maybe a nudge to the universe to look around and see what else might be there. And we talked a little bit about that at the beginning with the Knight in reverse. Sometimes going back and recalling, rethinking, or just retreading some of your steps can be very, very effective. Let's go ahead and expand this a little bit further into a few categories here. Now, I'm doing something new this month, which is basically pulling a single card for each of those. We're going to look at those who have a traditional job, those who are self-employed or an entrepreneur, those that might be job seeking. We got 2 for you. And then we'll look at students and retirees. Let's begin with those of you that work for someone else. We have the 6 of Swords coming through, and this represents the ability to create some movement. And for many of you, it's coming from communication because we had King and Queen of Swords. Interestingly enough, we see a well in the background. So I feel like one of the keys to success this month is to surface up a past talent or passion or idea that kind of got lost, that got basically pushed beneath the surface. So reminding someone, hey, we talked about this, or did you know I could do this? Using communication to unearth something. Travel, if we look at the traditional version of this card, could be a very important component this month to your success. If you're willing to travel a little bit more, you may be able to achieve more success. There may also be opportunities that take you out of your comfort zone. We can look at it in a more abstract way. So if you're willing to push yourself a little bit, there could be opportunity for advancement. Just pulling at one of the cards here in the rest of the spread, I think it's really important to ask. Ask if you don't understand something. Ask if you want something, because we see a card of worth coming through at the center, and so many communication cards with the King and Queen of Swords representing your ability to speak things into existence. So that's if you have a job. If you are an entrepreneur, we have the Seven of Pentacles. A period of growth and recovery after perhaps a period of struggle. Whenever Seven of Pentacles comes through, it's a reminder not to overextend yourself, not to rush, and to be prudent, financially prudent, and a little bit conservative when it comes to what you're going to spend your time and energy on next. Make sure that there is a foundation, that there is a contingency or emergency fund, and that you're just taking time. Because that shovel can show the work that you've done to rebuild. It's also kind of like digging yourself out of a challenging situation. You're nearly there, but be patient. Take your time and don't rush, okay? I would also say if you are looking at things where there's just not as much of a return, it's important maybe to focus on what people want, because now is a period of time where you have the potential to get to that Nine of Pentacles, but it might involve trying something different. So things that aren't working, put those to the side, focus on where you're seeing a return on the energy. Going with the flow is what it's all about this month, all right? If you are job seeking, we have the Hermit reversed and the Three of Wands. So Three of Wands is a card that shows that what you seek is within reach, but the Hermit could be looking in the wrong direction because we see him here with a telescope. But if the card is reversed, it's facing kind of like the past. So what I would say here is don't look for the same template or type of job that you used to be doing. Look instead at how you could repackage your skills, possibly even, it could be literally or figuratively looking beyond where you live or work. So I want to go out of my area of expertise, or I want to go out of my geographical area. We could interpret it as both ways. And again, we're looking at someone tending to things. Three of Wands is showing you that it's worth the energy and it's worth the effort. Now with the Hermit in reverse, it's also about finding a way to stand out. And this can be anything like redoing your website, possibly rewriting what you are putting out there in, your CV or just general description so that it is more succinct and that it aligns with future goals, not so much what you did, but what you want to do. So we're looking at mission statement being really important. When we look at timelines, the Three of Wands shows that it should be happening now or very soon. Those ships are coming in. It just requires your ability to look in the right direction. So time and again, as I'm thinking of this for you, it's really about making sure that you're not repeating history, that you're looking in different categories, different geographical locations, and making sure that you're not sort of limiting yourself too, I want to say too severely, but too specifically to one area. So this is a time where it's important to explore the options, okay? Enough said with that. Let's move on to students. Students, we have the Ten of Cups in reverse. For many of you, there is this pressure that's building up. It's interesting that in the background, we see either like a steam vent or a volcano. And for many of you, this is the pressure from friends, family, and sometimes even society to fit a mold. The Ten of Cups is people wanting you to do something because they think it will make you happy when it's reversed, but it's not necessarily what you want. So with all of the throat chakra activation that we've been talking about, you can push back and say, that's not what I want, or that's not what I said, or this is what I'm interested in. Thank you for your concern, but this is what I want. So we see that particularly when it comes to your career trajectory, you have to be in love with it. You have to want it. And if you don't want it, now is a time to stand your ground, to speak up, to create balance in your life, and follow the energetic flow that feels right for you. Only you can decide that. And then finally, if you are currently retired, the Four of Wands is fantastic. It's really showing that in this period of time, the main focus may be on building core relationships, new foundations, and feeling a sense now that you're also welcoming new people into your life. You could be focusing a little bit more on new love, new friendships, and partnerships overall. Really, really beautiful stuff. Let's go ahead and move on to the next component. Speaking of love and relationships, that's going to be the next piece. This can be any aspect of your life. Let's look at the Oracle card first, and then we'll break it down. So the reverse card here reads, play, gathering, and joy. So we have the otter here. This is a period of time where if you've denied yourself the ability to take a holiday or vacation, or simply to relax and play and have some fun, this is what's going to be not just important to your mental health, but it's also going to help you in core relationships, possibly help you attract new relationships if you're interested in it. But generally speaking, it's just time to create more joy in your life. All right, let's break this one down into three major categories. We're going to look at those of you that are currently in a relationship, those that are single and looking, and finally, those that are single and happy. For those in current relationships, the most important thing, we got it earlier, is truth. This card was also reversed. So being honest with yourself and with your partner. Truth then leads to trust, and trust creates this stability in the relationship that may not be there right now. So a couple of things when it comes to the truth. We're looking at big and small truths. So avoid making a promise that you can't keep. It could be a small one like, yeah, I'll take the trash out, or I'll pick the kids up. That's a little bit bigger. But more importantly is, like, if your partner counts on you to be there for them in a tough time and you can't be there, it's important to just be honest with yourself and with them, right? And this honesty is going to set up realistic expectations. It's going to avoid arguments. And in the long run, you're both going to be happier because you know exactly what to expect. If there's anything that you suppressed or kind of swept under the rug because you were afraid of rejection, now is the time to really lean on truth. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to kind of like spring all this stuff on, but just say, I love you. I trust you. I need to tell you this so that we can be stronger together. Something along those lines. So opening up the heart, revealing more of your hopes, fears, and dreams, and with this truth, with this trust, comes a foundation that will last the test of time, okay? So truth and trust, big takeaways for existing relationships. If you are looking for love in this period of time, the Queen of Cups in reverse is basically a reality check. And she's saying, yes, it looks like I can tell you want it, but are you ready for it? The things that are showing that there might be a little bit more healing to do, Three of Swords reversed. You might be on a rebound. You might be trying to replace someone with someone else before you've had a chance to just be comfortable with yourself. You also might just need to create more balance in your life or be more decisive on what it is that you need and want, not just in people, but in general. Speaking of the Justice card, there could be a very strong Libra coming through. If not a Libra, then an Aquarius or a Gemini. A lot of air energy that's coming forth, but because air signs can also see things, see through things, it's really important for you to, kind of like we were just talking about previously with those in a relationship, be honest with yourself and be clear in what it is that you want. That way, when that person comes forth, they're going to have the same sort of clarity, have done the same work, and it'll be a lot easier to move forward. Once you've done the work, speak up. If you want something, if you need something, the Queen of Cups steps forward and says, this is what I need to be happy. This is what I'm looking for, and without apologies. But I really do feel like some emotional healing is necessary first and foremost. For those that are single and happy, good for you. We have the Strength card coming through. This is basically one of the most powerful cards in the major arcana when it comes to being able to negotiate, to get your way, to be independent and do what you want to do. So I feel like you're perfectly situated in this moment and the world is your oyster. It just kind of depends on what you want to focus on. This card can also indicate an increased interest in health and well-being. So you might even be entering into that world, maybe deciding to be a coach, a teacher, maybe do something like mind, body, spirit work, like yoga or meditation. Whatever it is that you want to do, you have the potential to do this. And your hard work and work ethic are really what take you to the finish line. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are signing a contract for a new job. And it also looks like some of you might be putting pen to paper and focusing on writing and communication. It's a really great time to be a free sort of agent here to focus on what you care about. All right, let's focus now on the final category, which of course is destiny. And we have mermaid love coming through. So this represents the fact that sometimes opposite but complementary energies can come together and create the perfect partnership. So when it comes to a friendship and a business alliance in particular, this could really be a great time to not try to find like a duplicate of you, but someone that brings forth something that you wouldn't expect to the equation. So you could be a business person and you want to bring in a creative person. You could be someone that's really innovative and you need someone that grounds you and keeps you accountable. There's somebody that can help you become a better version of yourself because they're not a facsimile. They're not afraid to speak up. And together, the two of you are going to be a really nice, complementary energy. That's what I'm seeing. It does not have to just be in love, folks. This can be friendship, partnership, especially business relationships. And there's almost like this dreamy quality to it because there's a fantasy element with a mermaid. So this could be a dream come true, something that you've really been hoping, waiting, and dreaming for. And when you meet that person, you just click. I felt this before in friendships. I felt it before in love. You just know if there's something more, there's something special. So look for that spark. It looks like there could be a really great partnership on the horizon. And you know that I don't just focus on that unless I see it. All right, we're going to look now at your final question. This can be anything that you still need a little bit of clarity on. Go ahead and ask that question right now. Let's give the cards a shuffle and let's see what Spirit has to say. Okay, it's a good card. So we got the Nine of Cups. This, of course, is a dream come true or a wish fulfillment, much like we were talking about with the Mermaid card. There's something fantastic or fantasy about that, but it could actually ground itself in reality. Now, so this to a yes or no question would say yes, comma, but try to make your decision or try to make your move when you're not feeling emotionally charged, positively or negatively, because this is normally a card of extremes, extreme joy, or again, it could be extreme frustration, sadness, fear, anxiety, etc. So we want to make sure that we come towards the center through meditation, through sleep, through rest. Once you're in that neutral space, then you can move forward. Some of you are exhausted and you need a break. Take some time off. All the stuff that we got with the otter is really connected to that. Play, gathering, joy. Now is a time to do that. A little goes a long way. Three of Cups, there's always a cautionary note not to overdo it, especially so in the Nine of Cups. So don't overwork, don't oversleep, don't overplay. Do a little bit in moderation every single day and you'll be fine, okay? If you are feeling emotionally overwhelmed, now more than ever, it's important for you to get the support that you need and to just take it one step at a time. Before we wrap up today, I really want to go back to this synchronistic card, the voice activation. Speaking from the heart and speaking from the highest possible self, angelic attunement. This is your chance to simply say, I'm ready for this, I want this, I am this. Speak with a sense of authority, just like we saw with the King of Swords at the center. When you have that confidence, that clarity, that authority, then the world is your oyster and things really start to open up. Other people, like-minded individuals, may come into the focus this month, and some of that may come from travels or simply allowing yourself to explore new things. Please keep me posted. It looks like this could be a pivotal breakthrough month, but really working on writing, speaking, exercising that throat chakra, however it feels best. That's the big takeaway. If you enjoyed this reading, do me a favor. Remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. I read every single comment, and your feedback really makes a difference. So does liking and subscribing, so thank you so much. You can also give back in the way of super stickers, super chat, and also memberships. All of these things help, again, allow the channel to grow and for me to do more videos just like this. You can also give me a follow on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all the major platforms. On Blue Sky, it's nicholasashbaugh.com. That's also the name of my website, so you can go there if you need any additional news and information. Please do remember that I do not offer any private readings, nor do I use direct messages. So if you see someone pretending to be me, let me know about it, block and report them, and stay safe. And with all of that being said, I just want to say thank you so much. Thanks for being the absolute best part of what I do here each and every month. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can also check out weekly, monthly, daily, and special topic videos all on the main channel page. Until I see you again, have a fantastic holiday season, a happy new year, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.